Hey everyone, today we're going to be making some Korean fried chicken burgers. We're going to be making the bread from scratch, then we're going to be making a slaw, some bits that you go inside the burger, and of course we'll be making the fried chicken as well. So getting that marinated and breaded and then assembling it all together. So without further ado, let's get started and let's make the bread, because that's going to take the longest by far. Out of everything is making the homemade bread, burger buns. So let's get to it. Okay everyone, let's get started with making these Korean fried chicken burgers. To start off with, we're going to be making the buns. Because that's going to take the longest. But it's a bun we've done before, plenty of times. We've done it in the air fryer bread recipe and the sloppy joe kangaroo, the sloppy joeys. Same bun. We're probably just going to skim through it. If you want a more in-depth thing, maybe go to those two instead, and I'll link them hopefully below. But yeah, and also got a new sort of setup this time around, so we'll see how it goes. Using a magic arm to hold up the camera instead of a tripod, so I have more space on this kitchen island. Let's get started, and we're going to start with making the tanzong. So we'll get our induction hob out. Alright, we're just going to leave that to the side for now. 2 tablespoons of bread flour, 2 tablespoons of water, and 4 tablespoons of whole milk. Now we'll add it to the induction hob to medium heat and continuously whisking. Alright, that's basically what we're going after. That's the tanzong. And we're going to just heat some milk up to 30 degrees Celsius. So now we're going to be making the yeast, the primed yeast mixture. Half a cup of milk. Alright, that's at 27 degrees, so we'll probably heat up a little bit more. And now I'll just add in a tablespoon of yeast. Give this a cheeky whiskeroony. And there we go. And then we're just going to let that decide here until it fluffs up. Now, a dry roll. We are going to be adding in 2.5 cups of flour. Then a teaspoon of salt. And a tablespoon of granulated sugar. Grab another fork, and we're just gonna, incorporate all these dry ingredients together. Alright, there's our dry mixture. So it's been about 9 minutes, and it seems like we've got a bit of frothiness going to our yeast, so hopefully this works well. So we're just gonna slowly add in the milk and yeast mixture. This new setup, I think, shakes the camera quite a bit, so we'll see how it ends up. Now we're just going to add in our eggs. So one egg in its entirety, and the egg yolk that I prepared earlier. Now we're getting somewhere. I wouldn't say it's completely all mixed in though. Alright, now we start adding in our butter. We basically have our dough now, nice and smooth, incorporated. We're going to get our second bowl. Slightly grease it, and then we're just going to let it proof. And boom. That's the first bit of dough. So we're probably just going to let it proof for a couple hours. Okay, let's see how our dough has gone. Oh yeah, it's risen. Wouldn't necessarily it's doubled in size or it's puffy, but it has risen, and I think it's risen enough. Anywho, now we're just going to divide it up into 6 equal pieces and make them into buns and proof them again. I don't have high hopes for this because it's kind of dry. Oh, we shall see how it goes. Okay, well this is probably as good as it's going to get. It's risen a little bit, but not too much. Anyway, we're going to just get a nice egg wash with a little bit of milk in here. We've done this before. And then we're just going to stick it in until it gets golden brown. Alright. And in she goes. Alright, let's bring it out of the oven. There we have it. Bit on the small side though, but they will do, and we'll just let this cool down. Okay, next up we are going to be marinating our thigh fillets. Here we have some thigh fillets. Have a bowl for marination purposes. To this bowl, we are going to be adding in a cup of buttermilk, which is about 240 mils, so we'll just do half of this, I think. So we'll just pour in about a tablespoon of salt. That a bit of a whisk. That's a huge thigh fillet. Holy moly. Why is it so big? I think we're just gonna cut off some of the fatty bits. That's fine. And we'll just put it in here. Whoop. And we'll just get this all submerged like that. And we'll just let this sit in this until we bread them. So you can do this overnight. You can leave it overnight or do it straight away. But I'm gonna just leave it until I need to use them. So it'll probably be overnight. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make the sort of coleslaw sauce. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make the sauce and then I'm gonna leave the cabbage to the side and just have sort of the mayo thing. It's just gonna be super simple. And then I'll mix them together when it's time to assemble the thing. And that way, I feel like the cabbage won't get too soggy. It will keep a bit of crunch. I think I want that in this Korean fried burger. And it's super simple. It's a super simple kind of coleslaw. There's just a few small things added to it. Okay, first off, we've got some kimchi here, a bunch of green onions, lemon, which I've taken a little slice out, and some Kewpie mayo. So, to begin with, we are going to be just cutting up green onion. We're just going to prep all our stuff. So we're going to finely cut up this onion, and then finely cut up the kimchi, and then add it all together. To this, we're going to add in half a cup of Kewpie mayo, which might actually be the remainder of this Kewpie mayo that I have here. So half a cup of Kewpie mayo. Cutting up these green onions nice and fine. Alright, there we have a finely sliced bunch of spring onions, which we're just going to add in here. Next we are going to be adding in some kimchi. So a quarter cup of kimchi. And this is the kimchi I bought at the local Korean. So big fan of kimchi. Yeah, that's about right. Is in my wounds. Alright, and we're just gonna finely chop this. There we go. That should be good enough for me. Add that all in. And now we just add in a lemon, a whole lemon. Sting a little for my gut. And then we just mix this all together. So yeah, this whole recipe is a Joshua Wiseman recipe. So, because I like his recipes. So yeah, there we go. That's gonna be our sort of coleslaw dressing, I guess you could call it. So we are just gonna let that sit in the fridge, and the flavors will meld quite nicely together, and we'll just use that when we need to. Okay, next up we're going to be making the sort of Korean sauce, which we are going to coat the chicken after frying. So let's just get that sorted, shall we? To this we are going to be adding in a quarter cup of gochujang. Then next we are going to be adding a tablespoon of brown sugar, 3 tablespoons of ketchup or tomato sauce. Gonna add in 2 tablespoons of mirin, and then we are doing 2 tablespoons of dark soy. 2 tablespoons of dark soy, and then 2 tablespoons of honey. There we go. All right. And 2 tablespoons of honey. Now we are going to just quickly give this a little mix, but then we're going to add it to some heat. And we're going to let it simmer and dissolve the sugar. And we're just going to do it on a nice gentle 1 heat. And yeah, we'll just mix this around. Getting it a little bit reduced and also mixed in. And while that's doing that, we're just going to grate 4 cloves of garlic. We'll prepare 4 cloves of garlic and grate them. Alright, I think the sauce is probably good enough. And we're going to add it to our bowl of garlic we just did. We'll just actually leave it to the side here for now. Let's move this induction hob away. All right, so we've got our grated garlic there. And we're just going to transfer this into here. Wow. That little bit of a whisk. Now the last ingredient to be added is 1.5 tablespoons of rice wine vinegar. And then we'll just mix and whisk this all together. And that's our sauce. That's our Korean sauce that we are going to be mixing the chicken. It's not bad. Bit of spice with the gochujang in there. And this can just be left to the side for when we need to use it. Perfect, look at that. Look at that. Excellente. Let's assemble our burger, shall we? So first off, we've got to make our slaw, cut up some pickles, and then we begin frying and prep our flour as well for the frying. Alright, so full disclosure, I have actually cooked this last night for my family. Just didn't film it, so we're basically doing all the bits are left over specifically for filming. So as you can see, there's a bit of cabbage left, and then we're just going to slice it up thinly. And this will give this a mix around. Okay, and that's the slaw. The slaw done. Just leave that there for now, and we'll slice up a pickle. So this is just preparing for the assembly. All right, and we'll just leave this to the side. Yeah, so we'll just leave this all to the side, out of the way, and then we'll make our breading station. A chicken that's been marinating in buttermilk for overnight. All right, to our breading station, we are going to be adding in flour. I'll just do 1/2 cup. So it's almost 50-50 split between them. Almost. Just a little bit less of the potato starch, which is this. Right. Okay, so 1/2 cup of flour. I know, but not quite 1/2 cup of potato starch. If you don't have potato starch, just use cornstarch. But potato starch is apparently the more authentic. And now we will just coat them in this flour. Pretty simple really, you know, just make sure, and it doesn't matter if it's too floury because they will get some nice crispy bits when you fry them. But make sure it's well coated everywhere. There we go, there's our two thighs. Two thighs ready to rock and roll. And now we're just gonna wait for the oil to reach to 190 degrees. Yeah, 190 degrees Celsius. Okay, we got our roving camera now, and we are going to chuck, so we have some bread toasting, and now we're going to chuck in our look at them go. After it's cooked, it should look something like that. But yeah, after frying, it should be a nice and golden brown. Look at that. We have our Korean sauce, and we are just going to add this into here. And make sure we get that nice and sauced up like that. All right. Now we get our plate. We are gonna grab our bun. We're gonna add in our coleslaw. Then we're gonna add our pickles. And then we're gonna add our beautiful chicken. Put on our crown. And boom, bop, bow. We have our burger. Look at that. Look at that. Let's give it a taste test, shall we? So yeah, there we go. There's our fried chicken burger. Now, because like I mentioned, I did make this for my family yesterday. So I do know what it tastes like, but it still tastes just as good as it did yesterday. Got the crunchiness, got that sauce, got the coleslaw and the pickles. It's just so good. Fair and fried chicken burgers. Got the crunchiness and the spiciness and the mayo to kind of dampen the sort of kind of crispiness. And then you got the pickles to slice and the kimchi to kind of slice through all that oiliness as well. It's just so crunchy as well. But yeah, highly recommend. And my whole family enjoyed this as well. So they said it was delicious. And it does. It does taste pretty damn amazing. But yeah, a 10 out of 10 recipe. Very good. Although maybe don't go to the lengths of making your own bread, because that's probably the failure in my eyes. Is it's the bread's too small. The bread isn't what I wanted it to be. It's still good, but that is Korean fried chicken burgers with homemade buns, the whole schnozzle, and it's something that I reckon you should try as well, because this is fantastic. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and see you next time round. Peace.